everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to The Division 2. And today, it has been a minute since we talked about the lore or I made any kind of a lore or story video on the game. Believe it or not, we are already more than halfway through this new season, and again, I've yet to talk about the story at all. In large part, that was because not too much was happening with the lore, but with some more recent drops that we've gotten, I think that things are starting to tie together as we head towards this season's finale. So today, I want to take a look at the info that we've learned across this season and give my take on the true significance of this rising pact. Should be a good time. We'll get right to it. Do want to let you know that this video will contain full spoilers for the current story up until right now for Year 7 Season 2. If you've not done the scouts, you don't want to know what's in the comms, then click off now. But for those of you still watching, hopefully you end up enjoying the video. If you do, and you don't want to miss out on my future videos on The Division 2, then be sure to subscribe. Huge shout out and thank you to our channel members as we dive in here. It's your support that lets me cover all of these various different corners of the Division world, which I enjoy doing so much, so thank you. But without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so I was very inspired to do this video by what we learned in this week's latest Manhunt Scout comm. However, before we get to that, we need to go back and refresh ourselves on the very first comm that we got this season. Take a listen.
Can I get a glass of water? Of course. This is a debrief, not an interrogation. Ah, thanks. Sure. So we were talking about production capacity. Right. Capacity's down across the board, you know, and that's been pushing hard to get it back up, but we've lost people, lost facilities, supply chain disruptions, and we weren't exactly working under ideal conditions to start with. Frankly, given everything, I think we exceeded expectations. Hey, I'm not your boss. You don't gotta justify yourself. Just tell me what's going on. Yeah, sorry. Nat's gearing up for something big. Like she's planning to outfit a whole other battalion. We haven't heard anything about a recruitment drive. There isn't one. So what's she doing with all of it?
Okay, so in this, we see the manager, who again we rescued at the end of last season. He's outlining the resource stretch that Natalia Sokolova is experiencing. And just on a sort of side note here, this is a recurring theme that we're going to hear throughout these comms and throughout this season. I really like that this season is delving into the very real theme of resource depletion and just lack of manpower. You know, the luxuries of the old world are gone. You can't just snap your fingers and produce or procure anything you want. Everything has a cost to it. It has logistics that need to be figured out, and so I really think that this brings some realism back to the current storyline. It begins to address those player questions of how do these factions just have infinite troops to throw at us? In the case of the Black Tusk here, they seem to have the equipment, but there's nobody to outfit it on. So where could they be planning to get these new recruits? I'm sure you can probably see where this is going. In comes the Pact. Dun dun dun. Alright, so now I want to play you this week's comm, because it very much follows up by showing a conversation between the manager and Natalia herself prior to his retrieval.
Sit rep.
Excuse me, what?
Sorry, spending too much time with soldiers. Update. I need an update.
Oh, yes. We are down to 15% capacity.
What about the new recruits?
Some have defected, some have died, some refuse to work, and the others are trying to hold it all together. That's why we're at 15% instead of 0.
Can we replace the labor with the AI and drones?
No, not unless we requisition more warhounds.
Produce more, and you can have more.
Black Tusk manufacturing is not currently part of my mandate.
Well then, congratulations, Mr. Manager. You just got yourself a promotion.
So, 15% of total capacity is pretty dire, especially since Natalia has said before that she aims to have the Black Tusk reach and control the entire globe one day. But again, this is very realistic to highlight that new recruitment for the Black Tusk has been slow, and those who are joining have an increasing rate of defection or other complications, and this is where I think we're ultimately going to see the season go. Natalia can't just continue throwing infinite resources at us because she doesn't have them, so her new plan seems to be to use the DC factions as pawns in her game. It is important to note that this is not the first time that we've seen this happen. I know many of you are familiar with the Black Tusk and Hyena alliance that existed back in Year 1 of the game and story. If you're not, this season actually provided a bit of a refresher on that, so take a listen to this.
Schaefer, what are we doing here? Well, we have to. RC car bombs? If they had a legion of drones, it would be suspicious. We aren't ready to infiltrate DC. We need troops on the ground to help us understand what we're up against. I understand how proxy wars work, Schaefer.
You just don't like them?
I don't like when we use people, especially kids, for target practice.
No kids, never kids.
Well, who the hell are we giving the RC car bombs to?
Local street gangs. Feasible they could rig these with what was left behind.
So yeah, back then, the Black Tusk were supplying and utilizing the hyenas to ensure that there was ongoing instability in the DC area. It was also very convenient for them to put the target on somebody other than themselves. For example, like when we save President Ellis, that was all set up that the hyenas would have him, not the Black Tusk. And so yeah, I think more or less we're seeing a very similar thing play out this season. I saw a lot of questions from people heading into this season about why would the DC factions ever want to join forces, right? They have completely opposed viewpoints. There's a lot of difficulty there collaborating, etc. I think it's less about them willingly coming together and more about Natalia playing her favorite role of manipulator to try and coax them to work together. We aren't seeing the factions be friendly and work together in-game yet because it hasn't happened yet, right? Behind the scenes, the Black Tusk are trying to form this pact and outfit their new battalion. So my prediction, and keep in mind this is purely a prediction, is that in this season's finale mission, we will see all of this come to a head, right? Maybe representatives from all of the major factions are going to be in one location, and then Natalia may very well lure us in somehow to try and prove to them that we are the kind of threat that they need to unite against. Selfishly, I really want this to happen because I think seeing all three factions fighting together in one mission would make for a very unique and interesting gameplay dynamic. Just think about the ways they could mix and match all of those enemy archetypes from the different factions. But aside from that, in my mind, this makes the most logical sense for where things may be headed. And if we take a look ahead, we already know what the next season is roughly going to be based around. Thanks to the reveal back at Gamescom, we got this artwork for Year 7 Season 3 Mutiny. And as you can see, it shows two True Sons members at odds. Now, we know that General Anderson, who is the leader of the True Sons, has been Natalia's puppet for many seasons now, ever since they united back in, Season 10? Whatever the outcome of this season and finale may be, it wouldn't surprise me if we begin to see defections happening across these various factions, right? People, everyday members, saying, I simply don't agree with this vision that we're pursuing. I think that could also very well play right into the new companion modifiers that we're getting. Who knows? But yeah, more or less, that is my outlook on the remainder of this season and the trajectory of the Division 2 story from here on out. So, there you have it, folks. Those are all of my thoughts on the current and ongoing story and lore. This season definitely had a bit of a slow start, but things seem to be picking up, and truly, it's not too long of a wait for this all to come to a head. The finale is in less than a month from now. So, at this point, I would love to get any and all of your guys' thoughts on what we talked about today. What have you thought about this season's narrative thus far? What's your take on the Pact? Do you think this is something that the Black Tusk is trying to manipulate behind the scenes? Do you think the finale is going to see this all coming together, and that's where they might try and really kick this off? I don't know. Whatever you've got, leave it below. I'll be very curious to read through it. That is just about everything that I've got for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. RogueGold.